Hey, I wanted to demonstrate a couple things today. I'm actually going to be combining two things that I really like that are recent discoveries of mine. The first, of course, which I've already covered on some previous videos, is the Bodylastics resistance cables or resistance bands, which I like a lot. The second thing I found is a different protocol for working out. It's not equipment, but rather a way to use equipment. And you can use the Bodylastics, you can use dumbbells, barbells, cables, anything like that would work out just fine. And what it's called is Escalating Density Training, or EDT. It's something that was developed by a trainer out in Phoenix, Arizona area named Charles Staley, who's one of the top trainers in the country, very highly regarded amongst his peers. And he came up with this protocol. It's sort of geared toward being a bodybuilding protocol, but the interesting thing is many people have found that their strength, their endurance, and their speed have all increased because of the type of a workout that it is. And essentially by escalating density, what it does is you work toward compacting more work or density of the training within a certain period of time. In this case, 15-minute sessions or periods of time. Now you can do one 15-minute session, 2 or 3. And each 15-minute session is going to consist of 2 exercises that are done in sequence and repeated. So in other words, a superset in the common vernacular for training. And we consider that like an A1, A2, B1, B2 is the way we would write it up on a program. Whenever you see that on a trainer's card or program, you'll know that means that those 2 exercises are paired. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to demonstrate using the Bodylastics some different pairings. Now, you can do this as a 15-minute workout if you're pressed for time, or you're just starting out and need to start building up your strength and endurance. Or you can start putting these together 2 at a time, a 15-minute and another 15-minute for 30, with a 5-minute rest interval in between. And that rest interval is important. It allows you to recover the ATP, CP in the technical term. In other words, the energy in your muscles from your liver gets transported to the muscles, stored there and ready for the next bout of exercise. 15 minutes is a nice cycle because research has found that about 20 minutes is the maximum for what we have stored in our muscles in terms of energy. So that allows you a little bit of recovery so you're ready for the next bout of training. Also, it gives you time to break down from the previous exercise and set up for the next one. Well, now the nice thing about the Bodylastics is it's just clip. I mean, you take it off of your handles or your ankle straps or whatever you're using, and it's very, very quick, almost like using a machine. You don't have to load and unload plates. So it gives you a lot of time to get set up and ready and recuperate a little bit before you start the next bout. Now, if you're a beginner, I really would suggest that you do the 15-minute session. If you're more intermediate, start working toward the 30-minute session. And if you're advanced, you could probably tackle the 45. So with 5 minutes in between each one, you'd be looking at either 15, 35, or 55 minutes total for your training session. So you're under an hour no matter how you put it together, which is awesome. Now here's the key. What you want to do is select a resistance. In other words, with the Bodylastics, how many bands are you going to use and what bands? If you're using weights, obviously what poundages, etc. You want to choose a resistance that allows you for your 10 rep maximum. So in other words, let's say I'm using a purple band with Bodylastics for a squat, for instance. With that particular resistance, the purple band, let's say I can do 10 repetitions. At 10 repetitions, I really can't continue any further doing it with the proper speed or tempo and with the proper form. That's called technical failure. We're not looking for absolute ready to fall down failure. We're looking for technical failure. That would be your 10 rep maximum. Now, with that 10 rep maximum, what we're going to do is only 5 repetitions. Now this seems kind of strange. It seems like you're only going halfway and stopping. You're not getting anywhere near failure. That's fine. We don't want to reach failure. That's what Charles Staley is advocating, is not going to failure, but rather doing it in shorter chunks and compressing them closer together. So we'll do a set of 5 of a particular exercise, followed by a set of 5 of the next one with a very brief interval in between. Then we want to keep our rest periods fairly short. just enough time to be able to go on and do the next 5 in pairs. And we'll continue like that during our 15-minute session. And as you continue through, what you'll find is you might only be able to properly perform 4 repetitions, let's say after 5 or 6 sets of 5. Whatever it might be, it doesn't really matter. It's what you can do with proper form. The exercise has to be done on the last repetition of that 15-minute session with the same form and the same tempo that you were using for the beginning repetitions that you did. So if that means you can only do 4 good ones, that's what you do. If you drop to 3, 2, you might even end up doing singles. That's fine. All right. So now let's demonstrate some of these exercises and show you, rather than just tell you, how we can go about doing this. I'm going to demonstrate some of the exercise pairings that we would use for the EDT protocol. The first one I'm going to do is a squat, and I'm going to follow that up with a leg press. So I'll get my band set up here. I've selected a weight that I can do 10 repetitions maximum with for my squat, and that's what I'm going to start with here. You're going to use the same resistance throughout the entire exercise, okay? So I get my feet about shoulder width apart with the bands under the insteps of my feet so that there's a little arch there so they have a little room. Now I grab the handles, make sure they're evened up, and I'm going to come down into a squat position, bring my handles around behind my elbows, and perform my squat. Again, 5 repetitions. That's 3, 4, and 5. Okay? Nowhere near failure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust my bands. I'm going to drop some off here. In this case, I'm just dropping 1. Come back up. Same position. Except this time I'm going to bring my bands around to the front, because as I press overhead, I'll find that the handles and the carabiners, the loop, they'll all drag on the outside of my arm, on my elbow, my forearm. It's really uncomfortable. So I'd rather have it toward the front for the press. So what I'll do is I stand up, I'll just bring them around to the front and press. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it for that superset. Now I'll take a brief rest, catch my breath. When I feel my heart rate start to go down a little bit, my breathing evening out a little bit, just as I start to feel it, I'll know that I'm recovered. I'll snap this other band back on. And in fact, in the time it takes just to change weight, you might find that you're ready to start your next set. I'll get the band set up again, under my feet, shoulder width apart, bring it up. Now I'm ready for my next set. So that's one series, the squat combined with the press. The next series I'm going to do, the next pairing of exercises, is a lunge combined with a lat pull down. And again, this is all using the Bodylastics bands. So what I've done in this case is I've got my lunge set up, and to save time, I've got other bands that are on my door anchor, up high position. And again, I'm using a good solid door here. There's a steel door, an exterior door, and even though it's in swinging, it's still safe and solid because I'm going to lock the deadbolt and the lock set lock. So nobody's going to come through this door and cause my door anchor to slip off. So once I'm in position, what I'm going to do is get this band under the instep of my foot again, just like with the squat, but this time I'm only going to use one leg. And I'm going to come down, bring it into position, come up, and then I'm going to do a reverse lunge. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, without rest or any kind of a break, except to get set up, I will switch to my left leg and work the left leg. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I have to snap this band off because most of you may only have one set of handles. If you have 2 sets of handles, you might already have this pre-set up. That's the beauty of the larger sets. Even though you may not use all the resistance at one time, it allows you to set up a couple, 2, 3, or 4 exercises, say if you're even doing a circuit, and set them up ahead of time. So now I will face the door anchor, and grasp the handles. Make sure, again, that it's even. And the other thing is I always want to start with tension on these bands. If you've seen any of my earlier videos regarding body elastics or resistance cables in general, you know that you always want to start with a little bit of a stretch, just so that you don't have that slack as you come to the finishing point. So once I have this evened up, I'm going to get in a position where I start with some tension on my bands, and you'll have to pardon me, I've got to turn my back to the camera, but it's the best angle for you to see how this exercise works. So what I'll do is I'll come down into a kneeling position on one knee, a little bit of a kneeling lunge here. Notice I have tension on the cables, and now I'm going to lean forward, and I'm going to pull my elbows down my sides, just like that. It's just like a lat pull down on a cable machine at a gym. That's 4 and 5. All right, and when I finish that, in my little time I have in between, again, I'll snap my handles off. If I only have one set, if I have two, fantastic. I don't have to go through that. I'm ready to go on. I go back to my first setup for lunges. Get in position again for the right leg, and I do my set of lunges, again, repeating that series. So I have a lunge, I have a pull down, and what I'm doing here with all these exercises, as you may have noticed, is going lower body, upper body. This is called peripheral heart action. Another bonus to this workout, in this case, is that when you work the lower body followed by an upper body exercise, there's two benefits. While you're working the upper body, the lower body is recovering. And of course, conversely, as you're working the upper body, or the lower body, the upper body is recovering. And the other benefit is, with a peripheral heart action type workout, is that the heart has to pump blood in two directions. So I'm working my legs, my lower body, blood going that way, and just as it starts to get down there and pool, I go back to an upper body exercise, draws the blood back the other way. So that's why you can tell I'm kind of breathing heavy, even though I'm just demonstrating and doing a few reps. Working that big muscle groups back and forth, upper and lower, it's really going to get the heart going, which gives you a cardiovascular benefit as well. So we're talking big bang for the buck here. I'm going to show you one more exercise here in just a moment, or one more series of exercises, just to give you a little bit more well-rounded feel for how this works. And this next one is actually going to be completely upper body, so you can see how you can do an antagonist type superset, which is also called active recovery. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay, as I mentioned a moment ago, the next series of exercises we're going to do are going to be both upper body exercises, and it's going to be what we call antagonist muscle groups working. So what we have is one set of muscles working while the other set of muscles is resting. This is also called an active recovery because one set is resting, the other is working. And so what we're going to do is a horizontal pushing movement followed by a horizontal pulling movement. So the pushing is going to work our chest, our frontal shoulders, our triceps. And then when we switch around and do the horizontal pull, we'll be working our back, more of our rear deltoids or shoulders, and our biceps. So that allows the first group to rest while the second group is working. So to demonstrate, I have again used my door anchor. I've set it about shoulder height. I've already got my band set up here. And I'm typically going to use the same resistance for my pushing and pulling. Now, a lot of people are better at pushing, especially guys. If that's the case, you need to work yourself up to where your pushing and pulling are even. Because if they're not, that means that you're out of balance as far as your upper body pushing and pulling capabilities. You have a weak back, is the bottom line. So I'm going to use the same resistance for both exercises. There'll be no need to switch, so it'll go really quick. So again, I'll get my bands in position here, and what I like to do, and always tell my clients to do, is to start with the handles right at your shoulders, and then put your resistance on or load by taking a step forward. And this staggered stance will give you good stability frontwards and backwards to do pressing. Okay? So once I'm in position, take a deep breath. I'm going to push, recover, push, recover. It's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, this resistance is my 10 rep max. Now, I apologize again, I've got to turn my back to the camera, but I'm going to even up my bands, take a step back this time, and draw the handles toward my chest. I've got tension on the bands all the way through. That's 3, 4, and 5. When I finish, I can just catch my breath for a moment, feel my heart rate start to slow down a bit. You have to get in touch with your body here. Know when you're ready. If you go when you're still exhausted, you're just not going to get the work done. If you wait too long, then you're wasting time, basically. So once I feel recovered, I'll step again. This time I'm going to step with my right leg. I just like to balance up. So with right leg forward, the upper body exercise remains the same. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, I'll turn. I'm going to step back with my, I think I stepped back with my right leg last time. I'll do left leg this time. And roll right to my rib cage. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I'll continue that, of course, all the way through the full 15-minute session. And again, with all the exercises, I may be doing 5, 5, 5, 5, and then suddenly start to lose form, lose tempo. At that point, I've got to drop down to 4. At some point, I may need to drop to 3 reps. At some point, I might need to drop to 2. You just got to keep going. The idea of the whole thing now is to get in as many reps as you possibly can within a 15-minute period. That doesn't mean go fast. You should always work at the same tempo. It's cutting down rest periods. It's getting as many reps per set as you can. The progression here, because any type of resistance training is all about progression, is more reps, and as you get stronger and you start doing too many reps, then you want to increase resistance. So at that point you're gaining strength and you're gaining endurance and condition. So as you go along, you're going to maybe add another band or add a heavier band or whatever it might be, and that's where you'll build the strength and better conditioning as well. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Another good demonstration of the capabilities of the Bodylastics, which are ideally suited for something like this because they're so versatile. You can do so many different exercises, and the ability to switch resistance is so quick. And then the escalating density, which gives you a lot of work within a shorter period of time, so you're not spending all day in the gym or at home, and giving you a lot of work and building a lot of strength and getting a lot of benefit as far as endurance and cardiovascular, etc., as you do these exercises, plus the flexibility of doing 15 minutes, 30, or 45 minutes of work periods. So I think you'll find that very helpful. Again, work your way up to it. Start out with resistances that you can handle, and add as you go, and eventually you'll find that your conditioning and strength have really improved. So again, I hope this is helpful for you, and get out there and get in a good workout.